Hello, my friends. This is The Art of Prepping. Hope you are doing well today. But unfortunately, though, I know some of you guys aren't. I've been getting messages. Some of you guys are struggling very much so. Some of you guys have lost your jobs, lost your businesses. I am sorry to hear this. There are a number of people who are not just unemployed, but some people are actually employed but underemployed. Some people have unemployment benefits. Some people have not qualified for unemployment benefits. There are some people just trying to live off of charity. Other people are trying to live off of their savings account, but they're running out of money. And so for some people out there, they're in a personal crisis. They're not able to pay their bills. They're not able to meet their cost of living. And that's a problem, so much so that it is a crisis. And for those people, this video is for you. I have spent a number of hours talking to other people to get ideas. A number of people came together to help make this video. And so I want to thank those people first and foremost. First, I think that everybody would agree that it's important to know your priorities. What is it that you really need to focus on first? And this is in particular if you have a family that you're taking care of. If there are dependents involved, you need to focus on at least maintaining some of the essentials so that the family doesn't go homeless, the family doesn't go without food, and so forth. So the first four things that I would focus on is shelter, warmth, food, and water. It's important next to write out a budget based on these essentials. How much does it really cost to have these essentials? At this particular point, I would stop all non-essential services and payments. This includes cable TV, Netflix, magazine, and newspaper subscriptions, and all non-essential debt repayments. You want to stop eating out, and you want to only buy foods that are high in nutrition and good value, such as eggs, potatoes, in-season fruits and vegetables, because it's the best deal of the year, rice, legumes, oatmeal. And you want to make your own coffee if you consume coffee. You do not want to go out and buy coffee. And you want to try to grow as much food as possible. Consider sprouts. You can sprout things. Sometimes it only takes 2 to 4 days for most sprouts. And you can mix those with different meals, as well as grow food in bucket gardens. Check out bucket garden systems, and bucket garden systems can be something that even an individual that lives in an apartment can do. So there's really no excuse to not grow something. Buy in bulk when you can. Just note that it's not always the best deal to buy in bulk. So pay attention to the weight and the amount of food and all that before you just go into it. Don't just assume that the bigger the package, the better the deal. You want to try to connect with local food co-ops if they're available in your area, and or farms. Sometimes they have memberships that you can join and get food at a very deep discount. There may come a time that you may need to start selling things to generate cash flow to start paying for bills. This could be stuff that's just in a closet or in a basement or in the garage or a shed, whatever. You might also want to consider getting rid of your cell phone. Yes. And canceling that service as well, especially for those people who are unemployed and that they're home all day. There's no need for that. If you feel like that you just need to have a landline, that's something that you can consider, for emergency use. So get rid of your cell phone and get or transition into a landline. Typically, landlines are much more inexpensive than cell phones. Avoid temptations. This is a big one. Temptations can come in various forms. Just being in certain stores causes some people to want to buy. Being with certain people can sometimes be what pushes you over the edge. So be careful who you befriend and who you're around, and be careful of your old habits. I would not advise you to take advantage of payday loans. I would not try to live off of credit card debt. I would not do illegal activities. I would not go to the bank and get a bank loan. I would not raid your retirement account if you have one. So, taking money out of your 401k or IRA early, you're going to have early withdrawal penalties, and it's going to destroy your retirement account. Even if you do not have a job, you can still carpool to the grocery store with neighbors. Something else that I do that extends the life of my clothes is to hand wash my clothes. And I try to do that in cool water. Also, it's really important to look at your vehicle. Do you need the vehicle? I mean, if you're in a crisis situation and you're having a hard time just putting shelter over your head, do you really need a car? If you can justify keeping your car or having a car, maybe it's best to also look at getting a more efficient vehicle. If your vehicle is a gas guzzler and it's just horrible, in terms of maintenance, it's always breaking down, or if it's always, having something, happen to it, or maybe it's just expensive to insure, maybe it's better to get something else that's more efficient for you and your lifestyle. But once again, you may also want to consider just getting rid of your vehicle. Now, a lot of these things that we've talked about so far, these things can just be temporary until you get back on your feet. You may only have to do these things for a few weeks or a few months. So just keep that in mind. When you go out and do errands, this is something that I think that is so important, and it's just part of being efficient. Try to do all your errands at the same time. Don't just go out and get your groceries and come back home, and then turn around a few hours later and then go to the bank, and then turn around a few hours later and then go back out and get a haircut. Go to the bank and then go get your haircut and get your groceries and then come home. Compare prices before making a purchase, especially if you have stores that sell the same kind of stuff in the same area, especially if it's like within walking distance. I know some locations in my area that have multiple grocery stores, side by side. If you're really trying to stretch the dollar, before you buy any of your groceries, go to both grocery stores and take a peek, especially if you're unemployed and you have plenty of time on your hands. Well, use that time to find the best deals. Let your time work for you. I would focus on trying to get sale items, clearance items, things that are going to be good for you, especially when we're talking about groceries, healthy foods. But, if the bananas are slightly brown, but they're 50% off because they're slightly brown, that's okay, right? It's not going to hurt you. Next, I would have to say, though, you want to look at your home. How energy efficient is it? Is it well insulated? Are you turning off the appliances when you're not really using them? Some appliances you need to unplug because it still draws current, even though it says it's off. A lot of things have this standby mode. And, the thing about homes is that a lot of times, especially if we have kids, there's going to be a light that just never got turned off, or the TV that just kind of stays on all night. Those kind of things need to be monitored. Lights need to be turned off if no one's in the room. And if no one's watching TV, which in this situation, you may even want to sell your TV, if you're that desperate. But if you're not using an appliance, turn it off. And talking about lights, let's talk about that just for a moment. If you don't have LED lights, and they come in all different types of forms, and they're very, very energy efficient, especially the newest ones are just incredibly efficient, and they last a very long time. What you can do is just get a small box the next time you're out, and slowly over the course of several months even, but it may be every couple of weeks, you just get a small box of LEDs and you just start to replace the bulbs in your house and make them more and more energy efficient. And this will really bring down your bill. In some situations, you may not be able to afford where you live currently, especially if you don't think that you can turn things around quick enough, and you may have to move. And if you have to do that, I'm sorry. It's going to be very stressful, most likely. But just make the best of it. Kind of think of it more like an adventure. But before you move somewhere else, you want to do your research to make sure that it really is going to be a better choice than where you're at. And if it's an actual house that you're going to, you want to really investigate the property tax. Also, if it's going to be in a completely different area that they may have different tax setups for like income tax than where you live now, you want to investigate the income tax rate. And you just want to look at everything, the cost of food there, where you're moving to, insurance rates, everything. Now, in closing, I just want to say that if you can't solve the problem yourself, you may have to reach out for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And so don't let pride destroy you or your family. And there might be situations that you may have to take jobs that you feel like are beneath you, but just know that it's just temporary. So you might be used to working a job making $50,000 or $60,000 a year, but a job comes up and it's only paying $20,000 a year. You may just take that. Be humble and just take that so you can get back on your feet. And over time, you can find something better. Food banks. This is something that you can typically find in most areas. Not every city or town will have these. I know that in my town, they don't have a food bank, but there is a regional food bank. It's about 3 cities north of me. There's actually a food bank. I've never gone in there and checked it out, but I have, I've drove by a few times and I've kind of noticed it. So just know that food banks at the particular time of this video are pretty much overwhelmed. So call ahead to make sure they have something there. So you don't want to just show up and they not have anything. Also, you might want to research your community assistance programs, community outreach programs, and any type of, religious outreach ministries, churches in general. Also, the Red Cross. Sometimes I've heard that for short-term help, they're able to do something for you. Also, government assistance programs. It could be some type of welfare system benefits. I'm not really sure much about that stuff. I haven't really ever used that, so I don't know. But what I can say is that for some people, they qualify for some of these things. So don't give up. See what's available in your area, and just know that it's temporary and you'll get back on your feet. You just sometimes have to ask for a little bit of help and restructure your budget so that you're in the best position to succeed long term. Thanks for checking the video out, and my best wishes to everyone that's having hardship at this time.